Utah taxpayers have given nearly $50 million to a charter school. It's called the American International School of Utah, and they've done that since 2015.
And after all that money, the school has failing graduation rates and is drowning in debt.
Chris Jones and our Beyond the Books unit has been digging into the financial documents to explain to us how this happened. Chris?
Well, guys, if you grew up in Utah, then you likely spent some of your time at the old 49th Street Galleria in Murray. You were probably playing miniature golf and bowling. But ever since AISU set up a school in that building, trying to get onto firm ground has been anything but fun and games.
Even if the school breaks even going forward, they're still this far in the hole.
The American International School of Utah is in trouble.
Would mean that you're struggling to pay your current bills.
They graduate less than 60% of their students. They are more than $1 million in the hole, and they are one step closer to being shut down.
They've had problems since almost the get-go, right?
Correct.
Beyond the Books discovered that the Utah State Charter School Board placed AISU on a warning list weeks ago. Next could come closure.
But what I'm telling you is I think it's an incomplete picture as far as where AISU is.
Kent Burgraff is AISU's new board chair. He is now tasked with watching the $14 million the school gets from Utah taxpayers.
I'm not quite sure, especially by the questions asked of us by staff, that they actually fully understand the structure and the contractual obligations.
I'm not sure anyone understands the structure and contractual obligations.
At the warning hearing, he was defiant with the board, who had tough questions for him regarding how his school is overseeing the money. According to the staff of the Utah State Charter School Board, AISU has a debt of $1.1 million. In fact, they've been in debt since they opened their doors in 2015. During that time, they've had multiple executive directors. And Beyond the Books has discovered this 2018 audit that says that AISU's bookkeeping is a mess. The audit discovered that almost half of AISU's transactions, or $125,000 worth, didn't have backing receipts, purchase orders, or invoices. The audit also criticized the school for mixing money between their private and for-profit entities. Part of the problem could come from their financial structure. It's exotic to say the least. Here is a schematic of the school's operations given to Beyond the Books. In fact, the Charter School Board staff had to bring in an outside auditor to try and understand how the school is run. Clifton Larson Allen says they couldn't finish the audit because AISU and its associated entities didn't give them important documents. But CLA believes the school lacks transparency and may be using public funds improperly and are likely, quote, in jeopardy of facing long-term financial sustainability issues. Is it prudent to have a system that's so complex that nobody understands it? That seems like that is a breeding ground for problems.
Chris, let me tell you, it's actually not that complicated. I understood it. Now, granted, I've got a legal background. I get some of that stuff.
These guys have a financial background.
Do I fault them for not understanding our innovative education structure? In some ways, yes, but can we blame them if they've got too much work to do? Perhaps they need additional resources themselves rather than pointing the finger saying they've done something wrong.
Maybe you should just make it easier for people to understand.
Oh, but that's the crux of it, is that the charter world is an opportunity to improve education and innovate.
They kind of blame your staff. Is that fair?
No, I have great staff.
Jennifer Lambert is executive director of the Charter School Board. She says AISU has to take ownership of their problems that the school says are partially the fault of the boards, since the board granted AISU the charter knowing full well how the school would be set up.
In retrospect, should the Charter School Board have granted the charter, given how complex it is?
There's different ways that the charter could have been implemented. As long as they are operating within the law, they have freedom to determine how they're going to implement their charter.
They've had these financial issues for 4 years. I mean, they're on warning now, but is it time to close the school?
If the school is able to show that improvement, that's the best case scenario. That's what we want. If they are not, then other action may be considered.
And those actions could include getting a new board of directors. The state could take over the charter school. Another charter could take it over. Of course, closure is also a possibility. Now, if you have an education story that you think we should investigate, there's the number on your screen. Give us a call. We'd love to look into it.
And Chris, we don't talk a lot about the students, but you said some 1,300 students at the school.
That's right.
Is there a chance the school could close?
You know, it's a possibility, but I really feel like the Charter School Board wants to do everything they can to make sure that the school stays open. They're going to work with the school. They haven't put them on a timeline for closure yet. They want to make sure that AISU is successful.
Give us an update.
Will do.
All right, thanks.